So I had a question, and it built off of Susan's question yesterday during the Inclusion and Diversity panel. We were discussing it afterwards, but I'd love to pick your brains. So during that discussion, and I think in a lot of inclusion and diversity discussions, you hear a lot about helping people within these groups navigate or adapt to the company. And I know that that can feel like an uphill battle, and it can feel almost more isolating, feeling like you need to adapt to how the company is. And at a certain point, you can walk into a room with all the mentoring in the world, and you might not be the one who needed that solution. And so I have two questions. First, what have you seen that's worked? Have there been, reverse mentoring with regards to diversity and inclusion or anything like that? And then secondly, how can we leverage mentoring either as a solution or the insights from mentoring in order to help companies adapt to their diverse people?
You are like literally our diversity.
So I think the first thing I have to say is I agree. When I hear, and I apologize if I actually said it, but like when I hear that we need to help people adapt, it does kind of make me cringe because it means that we, however we identify, like we have to get out of the way of this big thing that is standing in our way. And I agree that that language is not great. And culture is a giant beast to move. You're right. I would love to say mentoring is going to be the silver bullet for every single problem and every single issue that we have to face, but I do think it's a really big part of it. And that's because when we look at something as multifaceted, complex, and embedded as diversity and inclusion, or the lack of it, like the only way we're going to start to be able to see that change, or in like Bacardi's case, reinforce something that's already a powerful culture, is through conversation and openness and awareness and being able to have transparency and visibility into other people's stories. Like that's where it has to start. And so, we continue to talk internally about the idea of community and connection and these ideas that it is important for us to establish communities of people who are who have shared identity or shared experience, and they can come together and talk about what are they facing, how are they navigating that situation, what sponsors and champions exist internally that can help. And I think that's important. But then the connection piece is also important, and say we have to make people, not make people, but enable people to connect with people who are not identifying the same or sharing that experience. Because in general, the people with real influence, the people who can help change the parity, the people who can help change the culture, don't share those identities, don't share those experiences. And so unless we bring them in a powerful, intentional way, it's never going to change. So I don't know if it's what you're asking, but the part of my answer is what does work. It's pushing that, both the community piece and the connection piece. And as far as, what part does mentoring play in that, I think it's everything. We pulled together some research on what does work in the diversity and inclusion space. And of course, the first thing everyone goes to when we're like, oh, we need more diversity or we need a more inclusive culture, everyone puts what? Training in place, right? Like first thing, training. And the research shows that training it alone can actually be detrimental to diversity and inclusion than helpful. But when paired, where's the MGM crew? Talking about sort of making this robust approach to, we're going to talk about unconscious bias, and we're going to connect you with people, and we're going to enable the resource groups or community at the same time. This creates a full spectrum experience, so that somewhere in there I start to feel comfortable to increase my awareness. I start to feel comfortable being uncomfortable and saying things and like getting feedback on maybe that wasn't the right way to say it. And that's the only way that I know how to change that is full court press, basically, and use all of those options. The business language of diversity and inclusion is strong. I mean, this research has been going on for decades now. So the numbers exist, the argument exists, the business case exists. So I think that while not everyone may be enthusiastic about doing the right thing, so to speak, I think that, you know, you can speak the language and you can make the business decisions based on that as well.